The paranasal sinuses. You can see these are the paranasal sinuses. As the name indicates, these are the air spaces. These are air sinuses, and these sinuses are around the nasal cavity. This is the master sinus called the maxillary sinus. These are the frontal sinuses. And in the nasal cavity we have got the ethmoidal sinuses present in the ethmoid bone. And there is a sphenoidal sinus which is not seen here in this picture. So these are the air sinuses. They are lined by a mucous membrane that resembles the mucosa of the nasal cavity. The epithelium is respiratory, similar to epithelium of the nasal cavity. And in the lamina propria, which is fused with the periosteum of the bones, and we will see the seromucinous glands and also the lymphoid elements. If we talk about the nasopharynx, nasopharynx is the part of the pharynx which is just behind the posterior nares. And from within outwards, the wall of the nasopharynx consists of the 4 layers: the mucosa, submucosa, there is a muscular layer, and there is a fibrosa. The mucosa consists of the epithelium and the lamina propria. Epithelium is again, this is the respiratory type. Lamina propria is rich in elastic tissue and contains a large number of simple branched tubulo-alveolar glands. Mostly these glands are of mixed variety, but in the area covered by the stratified squamous epithelium, some pure mucous glands are also present. Lymphatic tissue is scattered in the lamina propria throughout the nasopharynx. In the posterior wall, the lymphatic nodules are aggregated to form the pharyngeal tonsil. I have already told you about the adenoids and adenoiditis. Whenever this pharyngeal tonsil is enlarged, especially in the children, it gives some trouble to the children, and we do the adenoidectomy. A submucosa of loose connective tissue is present only in the superolateral part of the nasopharynx. The muscles forming the wall of the nasopharynx are of skeletal variety. These are actually the muscles of the pharynx, the superior, middle, and inferior constrictor muscles of the pharynx. The fibrosa is the outermost layer, and it consists of a thin layer of fibrous connective tissue. Now the larynx. Larynx is also the part of the conducting system of the respiratory system, and laryngeal wall consists of the mucosa. There are intrinsic muscles and cartilages. Mucosa comprises of the epithelium and the lamina propria. The lining epithelium varies in different parts of the larynx. The laryngeal inlet, most of the epiglottis, and the true vocal cords are covered by the stratified squamous, non-keratinized epithelium, but the rest of the larynx is lined by typical respiratory epithelium. The laryngeal inlet, most of the epiglottis, and the true vocal cords are covered by stratified squamous, non-cornified epithelium, while the rest of the larynx is lined by typical respiratory epithelium, that is pseudostratified columnar ciliated epithelium with goblet cells. The lamina propria consists of fine connective tissue. It contains the lymphatic nodules and many simple branched tubulo-alveolar glands which are of mixed variety. Then there are intrinsic muscles of the larynx which are of skeletal type. The larger laryngeal cartilages are the cricoid, thyroid, and most of the arytenoids, and these are highly in variety, I have told you previously. The smaller cartilages, that is the epiglottis. The smaller cartilages, which are the epiglottis, the cuneiform, and the corniculate, these are actually the cartilages which are of elastic variety. If we talk about the epiglottis, it consists of a plate of elastic cartilage covered on both sides by mucosa. The anterior or lingual surface and the upper part of the posterior or laryngeal surface are covered by stratified squamous, non-keratinized epithelium. The lower half of the posterior surface is covered by respiratory epithelium. because it is facing towards the nasopharynx. Beneath the epithelium lies the lamina propria, which lodges the tubuloalveolar glands of the mixed type. These glands are found mainly on the posterior surface, where they lie in irregular depressions. Epiglottis is an elastic cartilage of larynx. It is lined by stratified squamous epithelium on the lingual surface and pseudostratified ciliated columnar epithelium lined the laryngeal side. Serous and mucous glands are located in the lamina propria. So this is the diagram. This is the microscopic picture of the epiglottis. The trachea is a long tube that has three layers: the mucosa, submucosa, and adventitia. It bifurcates into two primary bronchi. So this is the trachea. This is a tube which has got C-shaped rings of hyaline cartilage. Just to make it patent all the time, nature has provided these C-shaped rings of hyaline cartilage. And at the level of the carina, it divides into two principal bronchi. If we talk about the structure of the trachea, from inside outwards, the first layer is the mucosa and respiratory epithelium, which is composed of 5-6 types of cells, and it is located on a thick basement membrane. The goblet cells are about 30% of the cells produce mucinogen. Then ciliated columnar cells, again about 30% of the cells. These are tall, which have cilia and microvilli over the surface. The basal cells are also about 30% of the cells, and they are undifferentiated stem cells. The brush cells are just 3% of the cells. They are narrow columnar cells, and their function is unknown, but nerve endings associated with them, and they are supposed to be the neuroepithelial cells. Then we have got the serous cells, which are about 3% of the cells, and they are columnar and they have serous granules. Then we have got small granule cells which belong to DNES, diffuse neuroendocrine system of cells. They constitutes about 3 to 4% of the cells, and they have got numerous granules in the basal cytoplasm, and it contains various pharmacological agents, that is the hormones. Lamina propria of the trachea is composed of loose fibroelastic connective tissue, and it contains seromucous glands and lymphoid elements. The elastic lamina separates this layer from the submucosa, and in the submucosa, which is dense irregular connective tissue, there are mucous and seromucinous glands. This is rich in blood and lymph supply. If we talk about the outermost layer, that is the adventitia. Adventitia contains the C-shaped hyaline cartilages. It is a fibroelastic connective tissue. At the posterior aspect of the cartilage, there is a dense band of smooth muscle cells, and this is known as the trachealis muscle. So this is the diagram which shows the different layers of the trachea. The lumen of the trachea, the pseudostratified columnar ciliated epithelium lying over the lamina propria. Then comes the submucosa, and this is the adventitia. In this diagram, you can see from within outwards, the tracheal wall consists of the following four components: this mucosa, this is the submucosa and the cartilage, and then we have got the adventitia. The mucosa is lined by pseudostratified columnar ciliated epithelium with goblet cells. Another diagram, you can see the four elements present in the wall of the trachea. The lamina propria is thin and contains many elastic fibers. Small aggregations of lymphocytes are common in the lamina propria. The submucosa consists of loose areolar connective tissue. and it contains numerous small branched tubulo-alveolar glands of the mixed variety. Ducts of these glands pierce the lamina propria to open onto the mucosal surface. The lumen of the trachea is kept patent by 16 to 20 C-shaped rings of hyaline cartilage, which are arranged one above the other. Open ends of these cartilages are located on the posterior surface of the trachea. The spaces between the adjacent rings are filled by dense fibrous connective tissue, which is fused with the perichondrium of the cartilaginous rings. The gap between the posterior free ends of each C-shaped cartilage is bridged by a band of fibroelastic connective tissue and a bundle of smooth muscle fibers, which is known as the trachealis muscle. And the contraction of the trachealis muscles results in a decrease in the tracheal diameter. This is adventitia, and adventitia forms the outermost covering of the trachea. It is composed mainly of loosely arranged collagenous fibers. It lodges the small blood vessels and autonomic nerves which supply the trachea. So these are the vessels and the nerves.